getting back to me, you know, my art. All I want to do is art. And the other thing is that I love stories. So like, to me, art is in everything. Your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You know, you can feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So art and hustle to me is the art of living and art of it and everything.
I hope that you cut that piece right there and make it your intro and your outro, because that was...
Hello.
Hello, Linda.
Oh my God.
It's great to see you.
Congratulations on your baby.
Thank you very much.
Well, cheers to your baby. Cheers.
Not.
Oh my God. I haven't seen you in so long. How are you?
I'm doing well, real well. Yeah.
I love your mural in the back there.
Oh, thank you. I'm in my kitchen right now. This piece is like 12 feet by 9 feet. It's a collab with the other Dylan from a couple years ago.
Okay. So cool. I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, everything's great. Really, really. Yeah.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to hang in there. I mean, it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
It's been a minute. We've I mean, like, how did everything go like during COVID when all of that was happening? Like, how was your art, and were you more inspired, less inspired?
Oh, I was way more inspired. It was interesting. Like, I was so used to being like on lockdown. You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to locking myself in my studio and working, or at least I was. So I was very inspired. I produced a lot of paintings. I painted a lot of murals because, like, my studio, we have a 10,000 square foot courtyard that I curate. So, you know, when lockdown started, I went and stocked up on a bunch of paint and created a huge mural throughout that. But I painted a lot. I did a lot of self-reevaluation. And then, you know, then my wife got pregnant. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. She got pregnant in the middle of a pandemic. And, you know, we decided to go ahead and move forward with that. So I had a pretty eventful 2 years, you know, like, made a lot of art, got married, had a baby, moved twice. And now things are starting to like settle down a little bit.
Where are you living now?
We're on the Upper West Side.
Oh, okay. Moving on up.
That's right. Came a long way, but started in Gowanus.
I know. Gowanus was, when did that start? 2015
or 16.
Around 15 to 16, right?
Yeah, 2016 is when I opened the gallery there. Yeah, it was that October. Long time.
Oh my God, 2016. So let's rewind back to there. Like, tell us a little bit about your background. Like, where are you from? What your childhood? Where'd you go to college? So people who don't know you get a little bit of a background on you.
All right, yeah. Well, my name is Dylan BAUVEZ. That's the artist name that I have. My real last name is Bauver. But I'm known as Dylan BAUVEZ. I grew up in Long Island, New York. That's pretty much it for that.
What part of Long Island? Because I'm from Long Island.
Oh yeah, yeah. I grew up in Comag.
Oh my God, how did we not know that? Like, I'm from Long Island. I'm from Central Islip.
Oh, that's really close.
Yeah,
I played soccer for Brentwood.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, like, I have to drive by the Comag movie theater back in the days all the time. Every time I go back home. Yeah. Oh my God, we're neighbors.
Yeah. They shut down that movie theater. It was pretty.
I know, it's sad because now it's like, I don't know, Home Depot or something like that.
I don't know. My family left Long Island shortly after I did. Yeah.
So you left to go to college, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went, so I played soccer. I'm a goalkeeper. I still play. I was about to join the Navy, and then I got an email from Iona College in New Rochelle asking me to play for them. So they gave me a full ride, and I went to Iona to play soccer, but they didn't have an art department. So I majored in business.
Yeah.
And I transferred out of there quickly.
Yeah.
And transferred and walked on to another team down south. So I finished my soccer career, and I got a Bachelor of Arts in Fine Art and Graphic Design from Winthrop University in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then graduated, moved back to the city, or moved to the city, to Brooklyn. Well, really, I moved to Queens. My mom had a friend that said I could stay in her house.
Yeah.
While I got my bearings together, and there was just such a miscommunication. I got to the house, and it was like condemned. It was like a condemned, broken down house. So I like squatted there for like 2 months. Found a job as an apprentice to be a plumber in Gowanus in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Saved up some money, got an apartment in Gowanus, and then after being a plumber for like 7 months is when I stumbled across the lofts and galleries. Called Alex, who was and what I'm going to say right now is a business model in which I still use today.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend and I think any artist should do this if they believe in their work and themselves. What I did with Alex is I saw this space that was called Gowanus Lofts and Galleries. I thought it was an art gallery, but it was just a vacant space where they were trying to rent offices and hall space and whatever. So I called Alex. He was the real estate agent that had the exclusive on a space. Spoke with him, met with him in person, and asked if we could collaborate by me bringing in artists to collaborate with his real estate. So we combined the event as a gallery event / real estate open house. And I had like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks not like 2 weeks to bring artists in to fill up that space.
Yeah.
And I found a bunch of artists. I went to this party in Bed-Stuy and like wound up meeting a bunch of artists that were like the core base, like the 2 events before you and I met. I don't even remember how we were introduced to each other.
We met through Instagram. I DM'd you. Oh, I sent you a message on one of your flyers, and then I sent you a message, said that, hey, do you need any new artists?
Oh yeah. And then we gave you your own room.
Yeah. So I said, hey, do you need anybody looking for them? You're like, yeah, come by. And I was like, yeah, I'll come by either tonight or this weekend. And you're like, okay, here's the wall for whatever amount of money. And then I saw the room, and I was like, I think I want that room. I'm like, I feel like that room. I think I have plenty of art to do the room. So maybe I'll take the room, but
Yeah, no. And it worked out great. You were, I think you were with us for the longest period of time, like to the end there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because towards the end, all the rooms were getting like the idea worked. All the rooms were getting rented out by businesses, and slowly all of us artists were getting, pushed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that went on for like 4 months, 5 months. They gave me my first permission to paint a mural. I have a graffiti background. So, but I didn't take myself seriously as a graffiti artist until the owner of the building approached Alex, and then Alex approached me about painting the mural in the front. So I was able to curate and produce my first mural, which was like, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 square feet on the front of that building.
Yeah, that was gigantic. That was a huge, fun experiment.
Yeah, and it's a staple in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was able to see how that artwork and that mural impacted a community in a positive way, it just hooked me even more. I mean, what hooked me was being able to paint that large on a wall without having to look over my shoulder and make sure, I'm not going to get arrested. But once I was able to paint that first mural, I was hooked. And I've been painting murals full time ever since. And but I mean, besides the mural, like I was also, that was the first time I exhibited my own work in New York City.
Yeah. That was my first time also. Like literally when we met was when I had just started focusing back onto my art, because I had gone through, you know, kids and marriage, and then I was like, I lost myself. I'm like, I got to get back to my core, which was I need to do some art. So when I actually figured out and did like a large collection of it, I was like, where am I going to show? I'm not going to go it. Like, I'm not going to show in like a stuffy, you know, gallery. Where am I going to show? So going through Instagram, Dylan, oh, let me contact Dylan there, right? So literally that space was like, I was like, wow, I think I'm going to just have my own solo show there, and that'll be my first thing. So that was the first time I started pushing my art. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you so much, because that was the pivotal start of me getting back to my art and my craft that I've loved so much and lost it, you know? So that was amazing. I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. You know,
yeah,
like it wouldn't have been the same without you or any of the other artists. And my career, for the past like 6 or 7 years since then, the artists that were a part of Gowanus Lofts and Galleries have given back in a way where like there's just it's interesting how all these artists from different walks of life came in when the gallery dissolved and we decided to take it on the road, and I started finding us certain spaces. That core group of artists are some of my best friends. And it all stems from the art and believing in each other's work, because, you know, you could say thank you to me, but your art is what got you there. You know what I mean? Like, and the artwork speaks on behalf of itself, like all of them. And it's just amazing to see at the humble beginning of like, none of us really knew what was going to happen.
No idea.
But it all kind of sparked a level of taking ourselves seriously as artists and allowed us all to branch off and do our own things. And, you know, take yourself seriously as a working artist here in the art capital of the world. So I'm grateful that I was able to be given that space, and grateful to be able to allow other people to be a part of it. And,
you were like the bridge to it, where it all came together. And I feel like Gowanus was like, I feel like no matter what, we'll always be like a family to each other. And no matter what, like if we needed something or doing something, I feel like we would always like reach out to each other and be like, hey Dylan, I'm doing this, what's happening, like what are you doing, let's do something together. Or if you needed something, or if I needed something, I feel like it's like a family where we can always like contact each other again, kind of thing.
Absolutely. And everyone brought something so interesting and powerful to the table. Like the events that I was hosting, like you took it to the next level when you started hosting the events. Like you just made it so much more legit. It was hard for me to wrap my brain around that. I was also in a different mind state. I was still, you know, like a wild animal, as well as like, you know, what I was doing. I've really cleaned up my act.
Cleaned up your act there. Oh yeah. I mean, like I haven't seen you in a while, so you know, you've looked like you've grown up a little bit there, Dylan.
Thank you. I have, and you know, I have. I had to. I've had a lot of really big successful moments in my career, and I've had a lot of really big upsets and lessons that I've had to learn the hard way, just by, you know, doing it to myself. So I've learned a lot, and I continue to learn every day. Every day. It's just being more self-aware, taking that, something that I practice on the daily that I'm not perfect at, but is taking the pause between the first thought and then the action that follows. Because I just react. You know what I mean? I'd say it was a 50-50 shot that the reaction would either end me in a good side of the road or a bad side of the road. Especially now, being a husband and a father, I try and just take.
So you're trying to stay more present and be conscious of what the outcome might be of your decisions more now.
Or at least just take a breath. Or understand that like somebody else could be having a bad day, and that's why they told me to go F myself or something. All right, have a good one. We'll keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's huge to get to that point. And also, like, that's why I started this platform, because I want to know, like, how you started, what struggles you've gone through, you know, like one of my other podcasts I was talking to, you know, like one of the things that's, you know, I asked her was that, how did art save you? You know, and so she told me like a lot of it, like mental health that she had to go through, from like ADHD to depression to probably drinking or something, you know. But like that's a question for you. Like, how did art save you?
Art continues to save me, and no matter what mindset I'm in, it's my constant, it's my X variable.
Yeah.
Whether I'm in and out of institutions, or, you know, like speaking of my past, whether I'm in that diseased mindset, like just to put it out there, I'm an active member of Narcotics Anonymous for years now. Okay. But when we met, I was an active member of the streets. Okay. So I was really just out there and, you know, like wild, but art was always my constant. So I'm able to use it on the yin side and the yang side to just come back and kind of breathe and meditate through creation. Okay. But the art itself transforms as I grow older. But art is it's my savior. It's out of all my vices, it's been my oldest friend. It's my best friend, and it saves me every day. And I value being able to create good work. You know, I could just rush and put stuff out there that I know that people want, but that's not necessarily what I do. I create because I have to. It's in my heart. You know what I mean? Like, like breathing. Yeah, but there are frustrating times, you know, where like I'll work on a piece and I'll think it's the best thing that I've ever done, and it'll only be like a quarter of the way done. And then I can't touch it for months or years. And then I'll come back to it and finish it in like a day and be like, wow, how did it take that long to get to this point? It just takes living. It lives. I want it to live on way more than I will. You know?
Sometimes you get stuck on like a project, and for me, like I have to start a commission piece, but I'm having a hard time starting it because I need to visualize it first. Like I need to see it. If I don't see it of how I want to create it, I just can't start it yet. And like I'm trying to get unstuck, and I feel like I should just start whatever it is, and then eventually the piece will start speaking to me, and like it will want to be whatever it wants to be, but I'm just trying to get to that starting point. You know, it's hard to get unstuck sometimes.
I get it. I mean, a lot of that's the menacing part about art, is like about being an artist, is that it's a very intricate dance that you play with your mind and trying to get what's in your mind onto the paper, but you don't really know what's in your mind. You know, like I'm a freestyle artist. I don't really ever know what is going to go on to the canvas ahead of time. But I love spray paint because it's one of the most forgiving mediums that also gives me instant gratification of being able to just and see it straight on to the wall, but you can cut colors and da. But it's hard, you know, but sometimes it just requires like putting in time. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my work, a lot of my canvas pieces will start as one thing and just turn into like 5 to 10 different paintings before it's finished. You know, it just adds that energy and that appreciation for the work. You put the hours in, and it's worth more to me, at least.
Totally. Now, did you always do art ever since you were little? I've
been making art. Like the first time that I was praised for my work, my grandmother, like I brought home a drawing from school. I was like 5 or 6. And she's like, that's really good. She's like, you should keep doing that. And for some reason, that like her approval and then her telling my mom that it was really good, and then seeing my mother's approval. Like I used to seek the approval of my family. You know what I mean? A lot of kids, it's hard to find your way in, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I started making art really young. Then I got a little older, I started to do some graffiti, but nothing real serious, just like tags. I like to just like really write my name on people's property, but my tag is still consistent. I still start my pieces with Zot.
Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, I'll say that I am Zot. Like I've done enough public work and been interviewed on enough platforms to really not have to worry. I don't really do illegal graffiti anymore. So yeah.
Do you have any mentors or like heroes that helped you along the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like from teachers or more like people or artists and people that you met, or?
Yeah, no artists really. One artist. I'd rather keep him anonymous.
Yeah.
Lots of I found myself not in many situations where I was able to humble myself to be small enough to fit under a set of wings. You know what I mean? But I have found myself under certain wingspans of other people that genuinely cared and still do.
Yeah.
But
did you have a like an aha moment of when you had to basically transition from like Gowanus state to the man you are now? Like, was there something, that pivotal part that changed? That's something that happened?
Like being wild to I died.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Almost 3 years ago. It wasn't the first time I overdosed, but this time it took me out. And I'm sorry?
I said, what? I didn't know.
Yeah. And you know, it's better to be for me to be open about it. Because anyone that sees this sees who I really am. Yeah. And hopefully it can help somebody else.
Yeah, you know, exactly. Like that's why I want to do this, where whatever way, like whatever struggles you went through and then how you are now, like if it can help anybody, like people who listen to this podcast who are going through something, like I want to be able to have that bridge where it can like reach somebody, you know. So you telling your story is exactly what I want to do, where I can have that platform and you tell your story, and if that can help somebody, like that's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And that's what this is all about, like helping further mankind, at least for me, like where I'm at. Like I I just turned 30. And a large majority of my life was not a large part, but I'd say a lot of it, the mentality was, what can I do to get myself to the next level, to the next spot? Nowadays, I'd rather just give away what I have. Like as far as like something that I've learned in these rooms is like, you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. So if there's certain things that I'll be able to get out of my head in this interview with you, but one of which is, if anyone watches this and is going through something that they can relate to what I'm saying, just know that you're not alone, because that's a feeling that I had for a very long time. The feeling of nobody understands what I'm going through. Nobody can see what I've been through, which led me to a place of isolation, and then enough negative self-talk to convince myself to, you know, keep going down that path of self-destruction. And it doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't. It doesn't have to get to that point where, you know, you wake up on the operating table. You know what I mean? Like I woke up and they were like, oh shit, he's up. And they were like, all right. They're like, all right, you got to sign here because we might have to amputate your leg. And I was like, all right, I signed it. I can, but God hooked me up and gave me another shot. I can walk. And as soon as I was fully healed, my wife, maybe like a month later, 2 months later, she got pregnant with our son, Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Wow. So what happened? You overdosed and you just woke up in the hospital? Like were you in an accident or something like that? Or
No, so it wound up being in a 24-hour span.
Mhm.
The first time it was a bad batch of shit.
Yeah.
So I did one, like a half of a bag, like I was snorting whatever the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I passed out in my studio with my legs hanging over the couch. And I cut off, the doctors, how they explained it to me was I had overdosed then. And I woke up 16 hours later with my legs hanging over the couch. I cut off the circulation to both of my legs.
Oh, wow.
So I got up, I tried to get up and I couldn't walk.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that caused blood clots to form in my right and left leg.
Yeah.
So I laid there for like another 5 to 6 hours and my left leg came too.
Wow.
My right didn't. So I hopped back to my apartment, had one of my roommates, like, you know, like when you're an addict, you can convince anyone of anything. So they didn't realize I was using or anything like that. I was like, yo, I have this Charlie horse in the back of my leg. Like, can you help me? Like, work it out? Because I couldn't reach it. But that was a blood clot. So, and I didn't know that. So, and blood clots can spread and take over a whole person's body. So I had him pushing on that thing and it just was excruciating pain. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to try and go back to the studio and do the rest of that bag. And I didn't realize I had OD, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as I'm hopping there, the blood clot had like started to spread or whatever.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I woke up in the ambulance because I had fallen out in the street. And all I could say was, like, they treated me just like another junkie, which obviously, like, when you're in that business, you see a lot of it in this city. And all I could say was my leg.
Yeah.
And then my leg was like, my calf muscle was huge.
Yeah.
And then I passed out again. Then I woke up on the operating table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when that happened. But I wound up getting something called compartment syndrome. And they needed to like immediately go put me into surgery. Otherwise, if they would have found me like anywhere from like 8 to 12 hours later or active, that I would not have come back.
Wow.
Yeah. And they have no idea how they were able to act and make it so I didn't lose my leg.
Yeah.
And the recovery was just like remarkable. Like they said I wasn't going to be able to walk for like 3 or 4 months, and I was walking in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, you know, very remarkable what had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it opened my eyes in a way that I learned my lesson for the last time.
For the last time, yes. Okay.
For the last time, for now. And I mean, the disease is just, it's fucked up because without actively practicing how to be sober, like it could sneak up on you and take you out again, you know? So
yeah. No, I totally understand, because if you're in a state of like depression or isolated in your head, you normally will just seek out either drugs or alcohol or, you know, whatever addiction it is to feel better, because people just want to feel better. People want to just feel happy. And so it's hard to like figure it out, and it's hard to like talk to people. You know, people need to realize, and also maybe this platform will help others know that you're not alone, and a lot of other people also feel the same way, and to, you know, just reach out to more people and talk to people.
Yeah, and you know, like an addict, when it gets to the point of where you have no control over it, like an addict wants nothing more than to be there for the people he loves the most. But whatever demons got him has a grip on him, and I know what it's like to want to be the good person that you started out as,
Yeah,
and then get taken away from that.
yeah,
So again, like if somebody who watches this is in a position where they think they're too far gone, take it from me, like there's always a way back. There's always a way back. You just gotta fucking put in the work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was literally like a year ago or more.
At this point, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
July will be 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
slippery slope.
Wow. Well, I'm so thankful that you're here, and so thankful that we're able to get in touch with each other to talk about this, because
Yeah,
I had,
absolutely.
you know, because I had no idea, and I really appreciate you being open enough to talk about it, because it's a hard thing to be able to put it out there and talk about it.
Yeah, it is hard, but it's necessary. I don't know if it's always necessary to do it on a platform that's being recorded, just something that I've never done, and I didn't really plan on speaking about it. But when I'm being asked questions about the nitty gritty truth about where I come from, like I practice being honest, open-minded, and willing every day. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty much an open book at this point. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and again, like if people want to judge based on this, they're not the right people to be working with me or speaking to me. But if it helps even one person help fucking save a life in one way, like that's what it is. We're here to just help further mankind.
Exactly. We're here to help everybody, to tell our story, to live in our truth, and to heal. I mean, we're all trying to heal and to get to a place of peace within ourselves and with everybody else, you know, and this is all to help everybody else. And I'm sure somebody will listen to this and realize, wow, that's amazing. All right, I'm gonna try to, you know, get better and get clean and keep pushing my art, you know.
Yeah. I quit everything. I don't even smoke cigarettes anymore.
That's amazing.
I was smoking cigarettes since I was like 14.
And
I'm like a year and a half off. Once she got pregnant is when I stopped with the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Because I need to just continue on this path. I don't know what to call good or bad.
Yeah. I think it's like a lot of healing. I mean, like I started my healing probably when we met. Like that was the start of my journey back to myself, because I mean, a lot of us probably are just sleepwalking through life, and you're just using substances to just hide the pain and hide the childhood and hide the trauma and hide feelings that you're just ignoring. So I mean, so when we met, it was probably my journey of like getting back to who I was, and it's taken a long time. I mean, I feel like I'm still doing it, and I feel like, you know, I'm still doing it every single day. But I feel like what helps me probably is talking about it and dissecting it and like analyzing, like, where did this come from? Why did these feelings I have? Where did it come from? And a lot of it is probably stems from childhood. You know, and, you know, either my relationship with my mom or dad, the traumas I had there, or generational traumas that were passed down to me, you know.
Yeah.
So when you start dissecting all of that stuff, you realize that's why I was acting that way.
Yeah.
Or something you were lacking that you needed, that you weren't getting from, you know, your parents or someone, you know. So there's a lot of things to unpack.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, you're still figuring it out. There's a lot of digging that has to be done, and I mean, I have so much more work to do.
Yeah.
I learn more about myself and my past every day.
Mhm.
You know, just like, but being able to take a look at myself and like identify that like maybe that's an old way of thinking, or
Yeah.
maybe that
Yeah.
stems from this, and maybe I don't have to act this way in order to get my point across, or maybe I don't even have to get my point across. Maybe I just
Yeah, I
need to.
mean, once you get to that point, then you're gonna get into your zen, where you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna be silent. I don't think I need to tell you what I'm thinking. You know, then you maybe get to that zen part, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, which
But-
is why I did like some pieces called "Where's My Zen."
yeah. Yeah, but I'd say like my biggest aha turning point was the physical recovery. Then meeting my wife and us having our son is another aha moment.
Mhm. So
Um,
how did you meet your wife?
it's actually very interesting. She knows you.
Really?
Yeah. She owns a modeling agency, or owned a modeling agency called City Model.
Huh?
And she recalls doing work with you through Disney, like back in
Oh,
the day. But how her and I met,
yeah,
it's actually pretty interesting.
yeah.
So it's a long story, but it's actually quite beautiful. So I'll try and sum it up. So her and I had discovered that we had crossed each other's paths multiple times over the years. One of which, she was doing a photo shoot in Gowanus,
Mhm.
and
Really? That's
she had
funny.
this like little yellow table. And before I ran into her in the street, I found the table, and I took it home because I wanted to paint on it. This like really intricate, weird little yellow nightstand that wound up being my nightstand until I moved out of there in with her.
Yeah.
But so it all kind of came together when she first came to my apartment, and she was like,
Why do you have this yellow table?
yeah, she didn't even say that. She was like, "That's my table." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then she was like, "I met you years ago," because she's like very in tune. She's like, "I met you years ago in the street. You came up to me, and you were like drinking a beer in the street, like acting like really like."
Cool.
You told me, you were like, I just painted a mural around the corner, and I'm running Gowanus Lofts and Galleries, and da da da, and like you gave me a business card, and I gave you mine, and then like we were only seeing each other for like a month and a half before we decided to make the jump and move in together. So we're moving out of my apartment, and she finds I had a copy of the business card I gave her. She was like, "This is the same card you gave me." And then underneath it was the business card she gave me with her name on it, with City Model. She was like, "Well, that's how that happened."
Mhm.
But how her and I met up again after those, like before those incidents, I had a show in Manhattan. I did the same thing I did with Gowanus. I approached the agent who had the exclusive rights, whatever. And me and Dylan, the artist who I collaborated with on this piece behind me, we had a show and sold like, I'd say like 80% of the show.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very successful. It was like a month before, it was like February 2020. So a month before everything got locked down.
Oh, okay.
So like I showed up to the space after we cleaned everything up to pay the owner his cut. So like I'll give the owner, the agent or whoever it is, a percentage of sales, and that's what we share on.
Yeah.
And I walk into the space and I see this beautiful woman standing there, and I approached her, and like it just like it felt so, right, I was like seeing somebody else at the time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't cheat. I don't do anything like that. So like, I talked to her for like 5 minutes and I was like, I gotta get away from you right now. So I walked away, and then before I was about to walk out of the space, but I turned around. I had a sticker that I had like drawn one of my Zots on with like my Instagram on it, and I turned around and I hit it to her, and I was like, I gotta go. And I left, and then after I got hurt, we started talking, and yeah, the rest is history. So started talking, started hanging out. It also turns out that like her dad's a musician, my father-in-law. And he used to record music at my painting studio. So like my painting studio is within a production recording studio.
Yeah.
And I covered all their courtyard walls with murals in exchange for a studio like years ago. Yeah. I'm just always bartering, you know, with my art. Like, use your art to get into whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
He knew of me through my art, which was pretty interesting.
Wow, that's so cool. Be like, yo, I know you. I've seen your stuff. That's so dope. That's so dope.
And then, you know, like 2 months later, I'm showing up at his house asking for his permission to marry his daughter.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so cool. So wait, how does she know me through like Disney licensing?
She says she's not too sure. There was like I like said your name, and she like said she thinks she knows you.
Yeah.
And she doesn't remember how. And then I brought up the Disney, because don't you work for Disney?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I used to do a lot of Disney licensing and fashion design, pajamas, clothing, Hillary Duff, all kinds of licensing products.
Yeah, so she owned like one of the most successful modeling agencies for kids in New York City for years. Mm-hmm. And she said she did a lot of work with Disney, and I guess your name kind of just. She's got a crazy memory. She remembers everything.
That's crazy. I wonder, like, because we work with Hillary Duff also, and we needed models for that, and also other stuff too. But yeah, that'd be cool. That's so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I mean, I'm happy that she came into your life, and it was probably like deja vu, like how you met her and talked to her. You probably like, there's a connection here probably, right?
Yeah, and the fact that we were able to like identify that, it was almost like we figured out that we had already known each other for years without actually taking the time to know each other. Mm-hmm. You know? It was just a level of trust that was established between the two of us from like pretty much an immediate standpoint. But even when we locked eyes with each other for the first time, like at the face, there was just something there. There was
something there. I mean, like, I do also believe in like, you know, deja vu, where, you know, maybe you guys known each other from a past life, you know, like maybe that was part of it too, where now your souls have seen each other. Now you're like, I know you from possibly another life.
Yeah, we speak about stuff like that. Like, we believe that this isn't our first time around.
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe that, because how else would you feel such a familiarity with certain people or a connection to certain people unless you might have known them from, you know, another lifetime?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the human can think with a brain, it can think with its heart, or it can think with its gut.
Yeah.
So like from early on, like while we were both trying to wrap our heads around what the actual fuck was happening as to like, how is this so strong?
Yeah.
Both of our gut instincts and our hearts were like, yo, just shut the fuck up here and just go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's this crazy experience we had. So like a lot of my work is also like a lot of it just comes, my work comes from like things that I've gone through, things that I've seen. And like, I've seen many interesting and unexplainable things in the sky. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some people look at me like I might be crazy, but I don't care because I've seen what I've seen. And my work is inspired by it, especially when I'm tapping into like the sacred geometry and like the freehand geometry work. So anyway, so is she. And we were sitting there in my studio courtyard one night and we were talking because it was so early on and our heads were going like, how is this happening? Should we do this? Like it was just like taking huge steps. I think she was already pregnant at that point. Like we had only been dating for like 2 or 3 months at that point.
Oh, okay.
We're sitting there and we were both just like, and all of a sudden, like in the sky, this massive, like huge, like ball of light it was like a shooting star, but like times 10. And it was like right over our head. Just.
Whoa, wow. And where was your studio, in Brooklyn or?
Yeah, Gowanus.
Gowanus, okay.
Yeah, Gowanus Lofts and Galleries started my journey off in many directions. Like just allowing me to take myself seriously and the art seriously and use the art to barter. Yeah.
Well, that's a huge tip right there for people. You know, if anything, that's another, you know, gem to give out to people, you know.
Yeah, if you're an artist and you believe that you see an opportunity or a way in for yourself where you think your art could bring value to an establishment to like help you further your career in one way or another, just pitch it. You know what I'm saying? Pitch it and see what happens, because you put so much love and energy into your work. Like that energy can be transformed into other ways, especially with communicating with other humans.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking your art and hustling with it, right?
That's right. Right.
The epitome of art and hustle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My art and hustle got me into some really, really cool projects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was like only maybe 2 years or 3 years after I opened up shop in Gowanus that I was painting in front of the World Trade Center in downtown Manhattan. And I got that gig because of one of the first artists from Gowanus was Boogie Rez. Boogie calls me one morning and she's like, yo, I'm painting a mural for the World Trade Center and they have this small fence spot that they're looking for an artist to come paint because CBS is coming to interview them today, coming to interview all of us, but they need to get this one spot painted. And I was like, at that point, like I'm already filling the duffel bag with paint. I'm like, I'm on the way, you know what I mean? So I showed up there.
Yeah.
I actually was like, can I bring Dill? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were doing a lot of collaborations and moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, there's another spot for him. So I got there and started painting. And then I met the coordinator of the grounds there. And they invited, like Boogie and all the main artists were invited up to this like luncheon / meet and greet with like big time people, whatever.
Yeah.
And after speaking to the woman who was like running the show down there, she was like, why don't you guys come upstairs with us? And we're like covered in paint, like at this executive luncheon or whatever. So they brought us up to like this 69th floor or something like that with like a bunch of suits and other artists and Boogie and Rez and like sat at the table Boogie, you know, like, it was like me, Boogie, Nerds, all Gowanus artists. It was me, Boogie, Rez, Nerds, Ian Sullivan, Dylan Thomas Burns. What other Gowanus? I think that was it for the Gowanus artists. But like being up there, it was like sit up there. I was like looking across the table. I was like, told you I'll see you at the top. You know what I mean? It was so crazy. But
oh my God, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, but then that led to meeting the actual curator of the project, who I met there. And then we were talking back and forth a little bit. Like, I wound up assisting JC, who painted the mural underneath mine. Like, I just went there while he was painting. I was like, yo, I'm an artist. Do you need some help?
Yeah.
I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, I'm like harnessed up, like without an OSHA certification, like painting this huge mural with him with brushes. And then they had huge air vents on top of it. Yeah. And like I finished painting his wall. And then they had another dinner in the village where the curator, they like did it for the artists. And the curator invited me. And I sat next to him at the dinner and we talked.
Mhm.
And I hadn't really painted anything that large yet.
Mhm.
At least one of my characters alone, like the Gowanus mural was a huge collaboration. It was a
Yeah.
one story mural.
Yeah.
So he called me after the dinner the next day and was like, listen, you ever painted one of your characters like 2 stories tall or larger? And I was like, yeah. And that day I painted, I'm up on a ladder at my studio, I painted a 2-story Zot, like a
Oh,
huge
yeah,
face.
yeah.
Sent him a photo of it. And he's like, yeah, that'll do. So then he's like, I'm looking for renderings for, and he sent me the picture of the commercial air ducts right in front of the World Trade Center, like
Oh,
10
yes.
square feet. So I then took, I went there, I took pictures of it, I printed them out, and I hand drew renderings.
Yeah.
And there was back and forth between him and I, and him
Yeah.
showing it to executives from Silverstein Properties and the World Trade Center. And the third time I showed up there, and he was like, all right, these look great. It was like the final designs.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to go show these to them again. And I was like, with all due respect, I'd like to show them myself.
Oh, okay.
And he said, okay.
Mhm.
And we went and we met them out in front of the structure. And I was like, all right, this is them. It was like Silverstein Properties and World Trade Center executives, like meeting me with my portfolio. Like I printed them out, and
Yeah.
I still have them to this day.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a project with those designs shortly. But they were like, okay, you can pick between the red one and the green one. And I was like, all right, I'm going to pick the red one. And they were like, all right, great. And you're also going to be getting interviewed by CBS tomorrow. And I was like, holy shit. And that was crazy. So next thing I know, it's like I'm getting interviewed by CBS, and I'm painting. They're recording me. It is actually 9/11.
Yeah.
On that day when I'm painting.
Wow.
Then they bring me and Boogie and Rez and Sticky and Todd Gray up to the 69th floor, and they interview us. Oh, and Chino Maria.
Yeah.
They interviewed us, and we were on CBS. It was just really,
Wow.
really cool. But like, that's just an example of like art and hustle. You know what I mean? Just like get it out there, do what you got to do.
Yeah. And then just that connection. I mean, you started in Gowanus, you made connections with all these other people. And then that in turn just keeps on, you know, building that family and that connection. It keeps growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if I could give some more unsolicited advice, it's like, do your best not to burn bridges, because you never know what can come back around or who can come back around. Because I burned bridges because of my ego.
Mm-hmm.
Could have altered the course of my reality, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, like any
Out the Boogie and Red, man.
Yeah, like any advice and tips. Yeah, but shout out to them. They're freaking amazing.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're
Out
the
to
dynamic,
Boogie.
they're the dynamic duo.
Yeah. And what's crazy is like we're moving in a similar direction, but they always seem to get the head start. They have so much more years of discipline and experience than me. But we're moving in a similar direction. Like I hit up Boogie 2 days ago. I was like, yo, Boog, piece looks sick. Cause like they're pursuing NFTs and so am I. I'm moving in that direction heavily. And I was like, I told her straight, like flat out, I was like, I'm gonna find us some cool shit to do with this. And she was like, I bet your mind is exploding right now. Cause like it's such a new world, NFTs, man. Like I think that is beautiful. Yeah.
NFT is amazing. I mean, NFT trading cards and all of that, like it's amazing. Like what platform are you using to push it out there? Rarible or
OpenSea?
OpenSea, okay.
Yeah. I'm not even recognized on Rarible yet, but they're gonna find out who I am soon.
Yeah.
I keep knocking on the right digital doors.
Yeah, you know, keep hustling, keep pushing that stuff, you know. I mean, that's how you got to where you are now, right? Just keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a huge tip in itself. Just keep pushing your passion, keep pushing your art. keep getting it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still do a lot of the same things, like the same way of hustling. Like
Yeah.
in the off season, I'll paint storefront windows for the holiday.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing that around the holidays.
So I'm really not supposed to be talking about this because I signed an NDA, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like it's this year started. Like it was, I took like a good amount of time off while my wife was pregnant because there were just necessary things that had to be done to make sure that like she is okay, we are okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They required me to step away from art for a short period of time in the grand scheme of things, but like one of the things that got me jump started back again into the realm was like I started painting holiday little Christmas scenes on storefront windows just by going and knocking and saying hello, Bill and BAUVEZ, da da da.
Yeah.
And like some advice for artists here in the city of dreams is that don't think that a company is too big to work with. Okay. Like I did a mom and pop shop, finished it, walked across the street to a Krispy Kreme. And I was like, oh, they're a big time franchise. They're not going to work with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. So I walked in, I was like, hi, to the first person behind the register. I always say this. I'm like, are you the owner? Which makes them feel flattered or whatever. And either they are the owner or they give me the card of the general manager, whatever.
Yeah.
So I got the card of the GM, sent him some images, and he called me immediately. It was like, can you come out and paint tomorrow?
Wow.
So I painted that Krispy Kreme, and then he's like, I showed it to the GM of our flagship store in Times Square, and the GM's going to be calling you. Next thing I know, painting like these huge windows in Times Square.
Yeah.
Just by starting in a mom and pop shop, like art carries an energy that can open up doors anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, just from one mom and pop, then led you to across the street and then onto Times Square. See, you're the epitome of art and hustle. Get that shit out there.
Yeah, straight up.
Right?
Believing yourself and believing in craft. And the only way to believe in craft is to put that work in. Make good.
Yeah. But now you also have to make sure that your spirit and mind are in tune with your art.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not even in tune, just not even in tune with the art, like just in tune with me, because without that, I have nothing.
Yeah.
I really, you know what I mean? Like I'll die.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to make sure you're healthy, you're good, and you're happy.
Yeah.
Keep doing those dots everywhere.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, we can wrap it up with like the 5 inspirational Oprah questions. What do you think the secret to a happy life is?
Secret to a happy life? Shit. Secret to a happy life. Find someone that can love you unconditionally. Have a child. Maybe plant a tree. And I don't know, just I've always been one to not follow the herd, you know? Like I'll follow it when I feel it's necessary, but if I want to, like the amount of times I was told that I'll never make it as an artist and I should go get a 9-to-5 job, who knows where my life would be if I decided to go ahead and follow that, those instructions or that advice, because right now is the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
So that's it for me as far as happy life.
Yeah. What do you think the key to a healthy relationship is?
Communication. Communication, honesty, orgasms. Make sure you're pleasing your partner, and make sure that you're really pleasing your partner.
Yeah.
And a healthy relationship is just support one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just learn how to be empathetic instead of sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's enough sympathy out there, but being able to like really put yourself in somebody else's shoes from another walk of life and like be like, okay, I think I can see where you're coming from, and I'm here for you.
And which is what most people really want, is that empathy of where you feel understood, you know? So that's huge key thing. Yeah. What is your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that you say that. I was just talks with a financial advisor. 5-year plan would be, I'd like to have at least 300K. I'd like my son to be in kindergarten. At that point, in 5 years, he'll be starting kindergarten. That's really it. I mean, I just want to make sure that I'm still clean and sober, and just want to be there for my family. It's hard. It's still kind of hard for me to like see that far ahead in the future.
Yeah.
And honestly, 300K is selling myself way too short.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm setting small steps. So within that 5 years, the next goal, I guess, would be 300K.
Yeah.
At least.
So one random question, like, what do you think you would need in your life to keep you clean?
I already have it.
You have it? All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I already have it. But it's not one thing. It's tools.
Mm-hmm.
It's tools in which I can't stop using, like the tools in which to keep myself on that narrow path. And you know, it's easy to shy away from that path, or it's easy to get off that bus. But as long as I stay on the bus, you know what I mean? Just hold up.
Yeah. Well, I support you in whatever endeavors you have ahead. I'm here, and I'm so happy we were able to connect. And I thank you so much for being part of this podcast. And
Linda, thank you so much.
And we'll stay in touch again. And, you know, we'll do an update, you know, on the next projects you have on hand. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you and hear you again, even though it's through the screen. It's great to see you, and you know, we go way back.
We do. We got history.
Yeah. So yeah, God bless you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye. Finally getting back to me, you know, my art. All I want to do is art, and the other thing is that I love stories. So like, to me, art is in everything. Your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You know, you can feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So Artandhustle to me is the art of living, and art of it in everything.
I hope that you cut that piece right there.